The rain slithers down Bangkok's neon-soaked alleys, pooling in cracked pavement and reflecting electric dreams and ghosts of the sleepless. Manat Rithirong moves like a whisper through the fractured light, a cigarette burning low between his fingers, its ember pulsing like a dying star. The city hums, restless, motorcycles growl in the distance, the murmur of unseen conversations slipping through metal grates and half-open windows. Manat listens, his senses sharp beneath the smoke curling from his lips. Shadows coil in the alley's embrace, thick with the scent of rain, gasoline, and secrets best left buried. Is searching. Always searching. A flicker of movement, just a trick of the light, or something more. His fingers tense near the worn leather holster at his side. The night watches him, waiting. Shadows over Bangkok. Beneath the amber glow of flickering streetlights, Sergeant Knock leans against the cold steel of her squad car, the city's pulse thundering in her ears. Her fingers move with practiced precision, sliding rounds into the magazine of her pistol, each click a steady heartbeat in the storm of chaos brewing ahead. The scent of rain lingers in the air, mingling with the acrid bite of gasoline and gunpowder. Jaw clenched, eyes shadowed with the weight of countless battles, she inhales deeply, steadying the fire within. In the distance, sirens wail, a war cry, a reckoning. The night is poised on the edge of violence, and so is she. The whiskey sways in its glass, rippling gold under the dim desk lamp. Colonel Naung leans back, the leather chair sighing beneath his weight, power resting easy on his shoulders. A slow, poisonous smirk plays on his lips, dangerous, patient, assured. Across from him, Manat stands rigid, unreadable. But Naung sees the fire in his eyes. A blade unsheathed. A dog with too much bite. He's seen men like this before. They burn bright, then burn out, ice clinks. Naung raises his drink in a slow toast, the scent of aged liquor thick in the charged air. You look tired, Manat, he muses, voice smooth as silk, laced with steel. All that righteousness, heavy, isn't it? The smirk deepens. He already knows the answer. He always does. The city stretches before him, a sea of glass and steel bathed in the glow of wealth and ambition. From his penthouse high above Bangkok, Senator Suthon Vichaisawat watches the skyline with an expression carved from stone, cold, unreadable, absolute. He adjusts his cufflinks with slow precision, the platinum catching the ambient light, a subtle glint of power measured in detail. Below, the streets pulse with life, with struggle, with men who think they hold control. He knows better. Control is not taken with guns or fists. It is woven in whispers, in signatures inked behind closed doors, in debts too deep to repay. The city belongs to him, whether it knows it or not. A smirk ghosts across his lips as he turns from the window, the weight of his empire pressing against the glass, daring the world to challenge him. It never does. The keys clatter beneath her fingertips, a frantic rhythm of truth being unraveled. In the dim glow of her laptop screen, Pim Rithirong's eyes burn with determination, shadows flickering across her face like ghosts of the secrets she's chasing. Scattered files surround her, paper trails of corruption, whispered confessions inked in red, pieces of a puzzle no one else dares to solve. The city outside hums with indifference, but the truth fights to be heard inside these four walls. She leans closer, scanning lines of evidence, pulse quickening. Somewhere in this chaos lies the key, the story that could shake the powerful to their core. A knock at the door, she freezes. The air is thick with smoke and the bitter scent of scorched concrete. Twisted metal juts from the ruins like broken bones, the earth still trembling from the force of destruction. Embers glow beneath the rubble, faint, dying, whispers of the inferno that devoured everything. Flashing red and blue lights slash through the darkness, painting the wreckage in a relentless strobe. Investigators move carefully, sifting through the ruins, their voices low, urgent. Every step kicks up dust, a ghostly haze of what once stood here. Somewhere beneath the debris, the truth waits, buried, smothered, but not forgotten. The temple bells toll softly, and their echoes are lost in the hush of midnight. Incense lingers in the cool air, curling like silent prayers beneath the golden glow of lanterns. In the courtyard, shadows stretch long across the ancient stone, watching. Waiting, Manat stands still, every sense honed. The informant approaches a ghost in the dim light, shoulders hunched against the weight of secrets. No words are spoken. They don't need them. A brush of fingers, fleeting, practiced. A USB drive slips from one hand to another, vanishing into Manat's pocket like a whispered confession. Then, a distant sound, a footstep? Is her breath too loud? Manat stiffens. The night just got heavier. The air is thick with cigarette smoke and the scent of spilled whiskey, the low murmur of voices punctuated by the sharp clatter of dice and the rustle of baht exchanging hands. Overhead, a single, flickering bulb casts a sickly glow on the rows of men in crisp suits, their faces masks of greed and calculation. Stacks of cash rise and fall like the tides of fortune, pushed forward with steady hands, claimed by fate's cruel whim. A bead of sweat rolls down a gambler's temple as the cards turn. Luck is a fickle mistress, and tonight, she is watching with cold indifference. I in the shadows, and forces linger, hands resting on concealed weapons, eyes sharp beneath the low brims of their hats. There is no room for second chances here. Win, lose, or disappear, the house always gets what it's owed. Engines hum low beneath the city's restless pulse, the black van a silent predator in the traffic flow. Its tinted windows reveal nothing, absorbing neon reflections and masking the unseen figures within. Inside, the air is stale with coffee and tension. A dull glow from monitors flickers across masked faces, casting brief glimpses of watchful eyes, gloved fingers adjusting camera angles, recording every movement. The target is near, walking, talking, unaware. A radio crackles, a voice murmuring coordinates. The van shifts slightly, tires rolling an inch forward, patient, waiting. Surveillance is an art of ghosts. And tonight, the ghosts are watching. The alley is silent except for the ragged pull of his breath, each shallower than the last. He slumps against the grime-streaked brick, his blood painting the wall in dark, uneven strokes. The city moves beyond the alley's mouth, cars passing, voices laughing, oblivious to the man fading into its shadows. Manat kneels beside him, the acrid scent of gunpowder still clinging to the air. The informant's fingers tremble as they clutch at his chest, a futile attempt to hold in what's already slipping away. His lips part, breath hitching. Manat, a whisper, fragile as dying embers. The detective leans in, catching the last broken thread of truth before the light leaves the man's eyes. Engines roar, tires screech, and the neon blue of Bangkok streaks past in a rush of light and shadow. Manat leans forward, gripping the handlebars with white-knuckled focus, weaving through the chaos of midnight traffic. The wind howls in his ears, but behind him, gunfire. Sharp. Ruthless. A crack, then another, bullets biting into steel and concrete, headlights flash in the review, a black SUV in relentless pursuit, its occupants silhouettes of death, weapons raised. Manat swerves hard, barely missing a tuk-tuk, horns blaring as he skims past startled pedestrians. Another shot. Too close. He grits his teeth, the engine growling beneath him. There's no stopping. No turning back. Only speed, survival, and the hunt racing toward its climax in the night's electric pulse. Gunfire shreds the silence, each shot a thunderclap in the cavernous warehouse. Sparks burst from metal beams, crates splinter under the relentless barrage, the air thick with smoke and the acrid scent of gunpowder. Knock crashes behind a stack of crates, breath sharp, heart pounding. Bullets tear through the wood, inches from where she crouches. She grips her pistol tighter, waiting for an opening. Across the chaos, Manat moves with precision, firing back, his silhouette a phantom in the strobing muzzle flashes. Their enemies are closing in, boots pounding against concrete, shouting orders. No time to think. No way out but through. Knock meets Manat's gaze. I nod. Then, with a deep breath, she rises, ready to end this. The rooftop hums with the distant city below, horns blaring, neon signs flickering, life moving unaware of the violence unfolding above. Footsteps scrape against the concrete, slow, circling, the tension thick as the humid Bangkok night, the blade flashes, quick, precise. Manat twists, the steel slicing air where his ribs had been a second ago. He counters fast, an elbow driving into the attacker's jaw with a sickening crack. The man staggers but doesn't fall. Not yet, they move again, bodies weaving through the maze of parked cars, shadows stretching under buzzing fluorescence. Fists fly, bones meet flesh. No wasted movement, no mercy. The fight is raw, desperate, a survival dance where one misstep means the pavement is the last thing you'll ever see. The narrow streets of Chinatown glow under crimson lanterns, the scent of sizzling street food thick in the humid air. Neon signs flicker, casting fractured light across the wet pavement. Then, screeching tires. The sharp bite of rubber burning against asphalt. A black sedan skids to a halt, its doors bursting open. Gunmen spill out, dressed in sleek black suits, rifles raised, movements crisp, rehearsed. Muzzles glint under the neon haze. Once alive with chatter and clinking chopsticks, the street falls into stunned silence. Manat and Nok freeze for half a heartbeat, then instinct takes over, move. Manat growls, hand diving for his weapon as the first shot cracks through the night. As bullets shatter the air, Nok is already in motion, diving for cover behind a parked tuk-tuk. Chinatown erupts in chaos. The hunt is on. Rain hammers the rusted tin rooftops, turning the slum alleys into slick veins of shadow and light. Manat and Nok run, breath sharp, hearts pounding, their soaked clothes clinging like second skin. Footsteps slap against the flooded pavement, echoing between crumbling walls covered in faded graffiti. Behind them, shouts the clatter of pursuit. The hunters are closing in, they weave through the labyrinth of alleys, past dim-lit food stalls and shuttered doorways, past the weary eyes of those who know better than to get involved. A chain-link fence looms ahead. No time to think. Manat leaps, gripping the rusted metal, hauling himself over in one fluid motion. Nok is behind him, rain streaking down her face as she lands hard, knees bending to absorb the shock. A gunshot cracks the night. Too close. They keep running. No stopping. Not until they disappear into the rain. The room is thick with the scent of whiskey and cigar smoke, the weight of power pressing against its walls. Colonel Naung leans in slowly, his voice a low murmur, smooth as silk and sharp as a knife. "You don't win against men like Suthon," he says, the words dripping with certainty, with a warning. The kind that comes from a man who's seen too many idealists buried beneath their righteousness. Manat doesn't flinch. His jaw tightens, fists clenching at his sides. The air crackles between them, charged, unyielding. He knows what Naung is, what he stands for. A smirk tugs at the colonel's lips, amusement laced with something darker. He taps the ash from his cigar, eyes glinting beneath the dim light. "You'll learn," he says. "One way or another." Manat doesn't speak. He glares, the fire in his eyes refusing to die. The air is thick with the scent of old paper and something unspoken, dangerous. In the dim glow of the precinct's archive room, Nok and Manat stand inches apart, the hum of fluorescent lights the only witness to their moment. A case file rests between them, forgotten. The real crime is how their eyes lock, the weight of everything unsaid pressing against the narrow space separating them. Rain patters against the window, distant sirens wailing through the night. Nok exhales, sharp and controlled, but her pulse betrays her. Manat's gaze flickers, uncertainty, longing, restraint battling with something more profound. His fingers twitch at his side, aching to close the distance. This is reckless. A mistake, and yet, neither of them moves away. The apartment is eerily silent, the hum of the computer screen casting a ghostly glow over the wreckage. Papers lie scattered, drawers yanked open, their contents spilled in a frantic search. The smell of iron lingers thick in the air, blood stains the desk, dark, violent, fresh. It streaks across a keyboard, smeared by trembling fingers that once fought to type out the truth. Her last story remains unfinished on the screen, the cursor blinking, waiting for words that will never come. A shattered coffee mug. A toppled chair. The faint echo of a struggle still clinging to the walls. Somewhere outside, the city moves on, indifferent. But inside this room, a secret has been silenced. The burner phone vibrates in Manat's grip, and its screen is a cold, unmarked void. He exhales slowly, bringing it to his ear, the shadow swallowing half his face as he listens. A voice crackles through the line, distorted, hollow, laced with quiet menace. You have 24 hours. The words slither through the static, deliberate, final. There are no threats or explanations, just an ultimatum. Manat's jaw tightens. His grip on the phone is steady, but inside, calculations race. A trap? A warning? Or is it the beginning of something far worse? The line clicks dead. Outside, neon lights flicker, the city breathing in restless rhythms. Manat pockets the phone, his mind already working. Whatever game this is, he's in it now. The night is thick with humidity, and the city humming in the distance. Manat stands by his window, watching, waiting. Then, the headlights sweep across the pavement, slow, deliberate. A black limousine glides past his house like a spectre, its tinted windows impenetrable. But as it nears, one window lowers just enough. Just enough for him to see it. A gun. Sleek, polished, cradled in a gloved hand. A message spoken in silence, more potent than any words. Manat doesn't move. Doesn't flinch. The limousine drifts onward, vanishing into the night. But the warning lingers, heavy as the heat in the air. The air is thick with dust and the metallic scent of impending violence. Rusted beams loom overhead, shadows stretching long beneath flickering industrial lights. Footsteps echo off the cracked concrete, measured, closing in. Manat presses his back against the cold wall, his breath steady despite the fire in his lungs. His fingers move fast, sliding a fresh magazine into his pistol with a sharp, mechanical click. One gun, one man, too many enemies. The factory groans as if sensing the blood about to be spilled. Muffled voices call out, weapons shifting in gloved hands. Manat wipes the sweat from his brow and exhales slowly. If this is the end, he's meeting it on his terms. A final breath. A final thought. Then, he moves. The rain hisses on the pavement, neon flickering in the puddles at Nock's feet. The gun in her hand is too steady, but her eyes, wide and unblinking, betray the storm within. Manat stands beneath the street lamp, face carved from shadow and gold. Do it, he murmurs. End it. Her breath catches. The weight of the pistol is unbearable now. Echoes of laughter, whispered promises, the scent of jasmine on humid nights, gone. Manat steps forward. The gun wavers. You were never a killer, Nock. A flicker of motion. A glint of steel. A set up. A test. A lie. The shot rings out, only one falls. The city watches in silence. Towering above the skyline, the massive screen flickers, Suthon's face, frozen in shock, as damning evidence spills in an unrelenting flood. Bank records. Bribes. Bloodstained contracts. In his penthouse, the senator grips the armrest of his chair, knuckles white. Phones ring. Doors slam. His empire, built on deception, sealed with fear, fractures in real time. Outside, the crowd swells. A chant rises, surging like a tidal wave. Suthon stands, his reflection warped in the glass. No escape. No redemption, just the inevitable collapse. The boat rocks gently, slicing through the dark water as dawn spills gold across the horizon. Manat stands at the stern, hands in his pockets, the Bangkok skyline shrinking behind him, glass and steel dissolving into mist. The city had given him everything. Had taken everything. Salt air fills his lungs, clean, untainted. No more whispers in alleys, no more blood on his hands. just the open sea and the quiet promise of something new. Manat doesn't look back. He lets the past drift away, sinking beneath the waves like a name he no longer needs. The burner phone vibrates once. A single message flashes on the cracked screen. Not over yet. Manat exhales slowly, fingers tightening around the device. The room is dark, the only light spilling from the city beyond, neon ghosts flickering against Rain Street glass. He thought it was finished. Thought he had buried every loose end. A second passes. Then another. Somewhere in the shadows, someone is still watching. Manat deletes the message, snaps the phone in half, and tosses it into the night, but the feeling lingers. It was never over.